Everybody, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. I have someone joining me from somewhere far away that I wish I was right now because I live in Canada and it's always cold and but if you wanted to go to Hawaii, beautiful Hawaii. My wife went there for 6 weeks and she loved it. It's a beautiful place full of beautiful people, very kind and generous people there in Hawaii. And one of them has put up their hand and said, I'm going to come on the How to Podcast series and tell you about my show. So I'm excited. And Cassian's on the show today. We're going to be talking about her show, her podcast, her journey. I'm really excited. So we're going to have a great conversation. Welcome to the How to Podcast series. My guest co-host. Nice to have you here.
Aloha. And it's Cass. Just Cass is casual.
Is this Cass?
Just call me Cass. But yeah, hello from Oahu.
Nice.
I'm so excited.
Excellent.
Yeah, talking about podcasting, this is our lives. Like, this is the bread and butter.
So I'm excited for this. You are a podcaster. Yeah. You have an amazing show, which I'm going to be listening to tonight and falling in love with, which I'm excited. I love a new show. Tell everybody about your podcast.
So it's a Bible podcast, but before you check out, it's cool, I swear. And I did that because I didn't think Bible podcasts were cool. I was like a Christian that was like trying to learn about my faith. And I was like an avid consumer of YouTube, social media podcasts. And I was like, you know what? Like nothing is hitting. Nothing's actually answering the questions that I have. It's just devotionals or it's like super high level education on theology. And I am so early. All I do is go to church on Sundays and like have a Christian family. And yet that's not enough. So can there just be a show where like someone just biblically smart? That's it. I just want the facts. It's not a sermon. If God is that good, I think I'll find the emotion in it, but I just wanted the answers to the questions of like Noah, real or fake, like creation day, actually 7 days, like how was this received? I just had very blunt questions. And so that's me. I'm the dumb one and I ask the questions and I bring on, it's interview style. I bring on smart people who are theologians, professors, PhDs. And I just say like, okay, this is the topic. What is not being covered in church? And it's been this amazing journey of like really mic drop moments. And like, I'm like, you know, when you're on a podcast and somebody says something, you're like, I don't know how to respond to that. You just have to like keep going and managing the podcast. But it's if you're a history nerd, if you're just a like wonder of the world type person, I think it put this like frame on the faith of like, it just genuinely is cool. Like it's genuinely so much deeper and so much more detailed and complex that like in that my faith has absolutely grown, but it really is phenomenal to have like such scholars be like, these are what the studies say. And this is cross-reference with like other historical events that were happening at the time. And like biblically, this is how it was perceived because this was a conversation that was being had. Like, you know, for example, last week we were talking about divorce and I was like, okay, so divorce, like we all know as a Christian, it's my Sunday school mentality that I like to call it, is like, so we can only get divorced because of adultery, because of that one verse that mentions it. And I had this huge conversation with a scholar who's like, at that time, there was a larger political conversation happening between rabbis, and that's what they were asking him. This was the conversation. This was the debate. And it really puts into perspective, like, what was going on at that time. It would be like today if I were to ask you like, hey, at what point in a woman's pregnancy can she get an abortion? Based on your response, I will know if you're Republican or liberal, but that's not what I'm asking. So if we just write down what I asked you, you miss out on that larger conversation. And I feel like these conversations like really open up what was going on. And like through that, you're like, oh, Jesus is really cool. Like, whoa, Jesus was like really up against a giant when he said that. And it really illuminates the faith where I went to like Christianity's cringe to having these conversations and being like, Christianity's dope. Like, let's talk about it. And so it's really fun.
How long have you had your show?
I started. I always say we because to make it seem like I have a team, but it's just me.
It's just me.
You know that old trick. No. So the idea was planted in 2018. In 2023, I moved to Hawaii. Like June, July, I decided, like someone's like, hey, maybe God put it on your heart because like you should do it. And I like went through the trials of being like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want a podcast. I love my job. Like I don't want a full-time job or a second full-time job. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to edit. I don't know anything, which like we'll get into of like how I learned. But first episode was posted October 2023. And now it's been like a year and a half, I think, of like doing this 4 months full time because I got laid off. So I was like, okay, we'll just like trial this on unemployment's dime on like, what is this going to work? And I've learned so much and like content and social media. And then like, there's so much to podcasting of like, there's not one way to make money. Like you look at influencers and there's like 5 ways they can make money. Podcasting, like you have to be creative. You have to figure out what works for you and your content, and your audience.
So for your podcast then, you said you're bringing on guests.
Yeah.
We're connecting through Podmatch. Is there any other tools that you're using? Because I know one of the question I get from new podcasters who want to do an interview show, trying to find their first 5 to 10 guests is really hard because you don't even have anything, no proof that your show is good or no audience, right? So any tips for somebody starting an interview show and finding those first few guests?
Yeah, unfortunately, I had Lord Jesus Christ on my side. So right when I said yes, he brought me guests. But
there you go.
I think just talking about your idea of being like, hey, I think I'm going to start this podcast. This is the vibe. Do you know anybody that would be willing? Because at the end of the day, like we do love to talk about ourselves. Look at me right now. And if you say, I would love to talk about sports, do you know anybody that loves to talk about sports? I'm going to bring them on and all they get to do is talk about sports. Like you're not really making a big ask. And so I had pretty high qualifications of like, I need PhDs, and I didn't know any PhDs. I didn't know anybody in academics. It just so happened, which is like why I say it's the Lord, is like I was dating somebody at the time and he was bragging about my podcast to the people he was like taking on a tour. Cause you know, it's Hawaii. Like all we do is take people, it's just hospitality. And they were like, oh my gosh, we're theologians. Like we would love to come on your girlfriend's show. We have friends that would. And so it was just like, I would call them, sell them on the idea, show them how it was mutually beneficial, and then be like, if you have anybody else, like my job here is to illuminate your work. Like I want to help you by hosting you. Like it's not really like an ask at the end of the day. Like you're really presenting their life's work to a larger audience. Of course they'll say yes. But I definitely hit like moments, I want to say like 6 months in, where I had nobody booked and I wasn't using Podmatch at that moment. And I would network with other people who are currently doing what I'm doing, because I'm sure there's going to be similar podcasts. You do it your way, and that's what makes it special for you, is nobody can do it the way I do it. And that's my superpower. So I found somebody else that was like, oh, I do the same thing. I interview scholars because I'm also Christian and I take this take. And you're like, cool, can you share your list? I'll share my list. Like I'll share the emails, and then it's up to you to like cold outreach. But because of that, I got the emails of like 10 more people. And then I brought those people back on if they had a different area of expertise, so I could get them back again. I have a lot of repeat guests. And then over time, you build a relationship with them and you're like, hey, like I'm also curious about divine counsel theory. Do you know anybody that could talk about that? And so then they like refer their friends. But I think the Podmatch community has been very helpful, especially when it comes to like getting organic audience for you, because then you go on other people's shows, and like Podmatch has been so crucial in like getting me on other people's shows, so I could just talk and talk and talk and just get the backlink to my website in as many places as possible.
Smart. You said backlink.
It's the backlink.
Very smart, everyone. Sit up straight, everyone. You just heard a very important word there. Backlink. Can you please explain, Cass, a little bit more?
Okay, I don't know
what a backlink is. Okay, but what, from your knowledge, why is it important?
So I didn't make a website until like 2 months ago, which like so recently. Make a website first. I like focus on social media first, but from like an SEO, like search engine optimization, to make sure that when people Google my name or Google biblically speaking, all the things tied to biblically speaking, like if you host my website on your website, it strengthens like the search engine optimization of my website, because the internet sees so many places featuring my website. So if someone puts in biblically speaking, there's like, oh, you're probably talking about this link. I'm going to push it to the top rather than bury it in Google.
So this just happened to me in real time. I was just coming from a meeting before we sat down to talk today, and somebody was on my show that was in the audience in that online group that I was at for a UK podcasters meetup, and their episode's not live yet. So it's going to go live in a few weeks, but they were saying, oh, it'd be nice if I had a link, I would share it with the group here. There's like 25 podcasters altogether. So I'm like, okay, so I have a site that I use called oneimagevideo.com, I believe, and I was able to take a YouTube thumbnail and the MP3, stick them together, make it turn it into a video, posted it to YouTube during the meeting, and gave a link to the chat. So now they have a link to this podcast right there in real time. So it's just audio. It's not a video version for that specific thing because I just needed it to happen right away. So giving that stuff out to people, I then did a search on that person's name in the meeting, maybe 5 to 10 minutes later. And guess what came up in the result?
Wow.
That link for that episode I just posted to YouTube 5-10 minutes prior. It already came back as a result because I typed in the name of the guest.
Which like
it was one of the search results.
And that takes work and it was super timely and optimizing. But I think like at the end of the day, owning your links, owning your website, like for a long time I was doing Linktree and I also have Stand Store just to like make it easy for my viewers. But like things that are tied to my name, it's not elevating Stand Store. It's not elevating Linktree. It's elevating my branded work. You want those links out, which took a while, but like then it's not finding like Stand Store, it's finding your name that you own.
Yeah.
So no matter what platform goes down, you still have your work.
So if you look at your website domain and you see all these words and then the name of your podcast, instead of just the name of your podcast .com, .co, whatever it is, if you see all that other stuff be ahead of you in that long address line in the internet bar, that means those are the people in priority from left to right who are getting your search engine juice, I guess, Google juice.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that your name is right there.
Yeah.
So a website, great idea.
But it's tough. I mean, like at the beginning, you don't know your brand, you don't know your style, you don't know your voice or like how you're going to sound. So I feel like for those things that are kind of permanent, like domain or like website, like I would do it as cheaply and as minimal as possible when it does not matter. And then like as you get that style, you're like, okay, let's add this color because that's my branded color. And like, let's make it 2 pages, whatever it might be. Like, I think I can't emphasize enough, like how much it does not matter when you start. Like you just have to start and it will not be good. I guarantee it. And that's okay because no one sees it. And even right now, like I have 80,000 followers and I'm like, this doesn't matter. Like it does matter, but not in the sense of like cancelization. Like the audience isn't big enough at 80,000. Like I still feel that way because it's like, I was listening to, like, I'm sure you know, Alex Hormozy. He said something and he's like, no one's truly canceled until like you're deplatformed. Like R. Kelly is in jail. He can no longer make music. He is officially canceled. But let's say like David Dobrik, he got canceled and he only had 1 million followers. Let's say that. He could still just get another million. There's 8 billion people and like so many more Instagram accounts. So like even if he got canceled at 1 million, he could just get another million. Like there's so many people in this world and like what? I mean, maybe you don't know this for social media, but like 2% of my current 80,000 audience sees the content I post every day. That means I get to repost stuff. So another 2% gets to see it. Like you really cannot mess it up. And I really encourage like my sister who like has social media and she's like, I don't want to like ruin my brand. I'm like, girly pop, it's not that big. And like, that's okay. That's a good thing. You should use that to your advantage by taking risks and seeing very quickly, oh, I got no response to that. Okay, let's try something else. Oh, no response. Oh, this one hit. And now like you just learn so quickly with the more you experiment with. Like, did you do that when you were posting right away? I mean, you get so much data because you have so many podcasts.
When you have a large inventory of episodes, you do show up more often because there's more to show, right? So that's a benefit of having a long-term podcast with a lot of episodes. But I think the one thing I always encourage everybody to do is don't be too cute when you're trying to come up with the name of your show or something, because it makes it harder for all the search engines to know what to do with that information. True. When it's pretty clear, like I love the name of your show, it's pretty straightforward what the show is without really having to ask any follow-up questions. I kind of got an idea just by hearing the name of your show. This show is the How to Podcast series. How to Podcast. Yeah. Like that's what people type into Google or Apple or Spotify. And it's actually worked. I've had people reach out to me and said, I found your show because I went to Apple, I typed in How to Podcast, and boom, there you are. I'm like, I pressed play, and now I'm here.
That's such good advice. You really don't have to be cute. Yeah. You can be cute, but the name doesn't have to be. Yeah. Did you have other names? I was thinking of other names, and I'm so glad I didn't go with them.
Give me one. Come on.
Well, it was going to be, thank God I'm not Jesus. And like, thank God I didn't do that. They'd be so confused. I like put that on merch, and people are like, I don't get it.
There you go. Yeah, well, most of mine, it's funny because most of my ideas come like, it's like I get like this download thing that happens. And it's like, here's the name of the show. Here's what it's about. Here's the website address. Go do it. Yeah. And I'm like looking around like, who's who's tapping me on the shoulder? Okay, I go and I look and it's available.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Like nobody else had this idea?
That's pretty
I don't
crazy.
understand. Right? So I'm the type of person that if I have an idea, I go grab the domain and I just park it. It's like 10, 15 bucks for the year. I just buy it and I just leave it alone. And then I come back to the idea when I have time. At least I got it out of my brain and it's there waiting for me to do something with. And if after a year I don't use the domain, I just let it go. It wasn't meant to be. Maybe it's somebody else's idea.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm supposed to dream out loud and someone like you goes, whoa, hey, I like that idea. I'm going to take it. Great. I'm not here to fulfill all the dreams and ideas that I get. That's pretty selfish of me. I dream out loud, something I like to say a lot. And if someone else picks up the dream and runs with it, that's not a fail for me. That's a rejoicing.
You're saying like if you
someone
stop
else was inspired.
podcasting, if you stop how to podcast and someone else takes that up, then you're like, okay, I wipe my hands of it. Now that's no longer for me because someone else. Okay, I am like already. I like can't even think about me not podcasting. Like my poor baby. How do you grow up with that? Like how do you?
Well, it would probably be because another idea replaced it. Right.
And that
If I
is
got to
what
the point where
failure
I'm
is.
like,
It's just a better idea.
the next thing.
Yeah,
But you can't get to the next thing without the first thing.
true. Yeah,
If you look at steps into your house, you have to take that first step before you can get to the 10th step.
yeah,
You can't skip it.
yeah.
You really got to follow through, right? So
There is no such
and that's
thing
like
as
for
failure.
recording your episodes, right? Recording your episodes.
What?
You can't get to episode 20 without episode 1.
Oh,
Everybody wants to be great, but nobody wants to put in the extra effort of episode 1.
yes.
Because I might sound bad and nobody's going to listen to me, Cass.
I am literally there right now. I'm like not making any money. And I'm like, well, you have to not make money to eventually make money. You didn't go from 0 to 20K months. You go from like, I made $30 yesterday. Nice. Like, that's
There you go.
you're right. No one talks about that on Instagram. They're like, yeah, so follow me to see me make $80 one day. Who knows? We don't even know. Might not even happen. You just see the people across the finish line. It's like they had days where they're like, okay, so I'm not making any money, but I'm still going to keep going.
Social media is a bunch of people comparing their Mondays to somebody's Saturdays
Oh,
and going, my Monday
that's good.
sucks.
That is.
And your Saturday looks amazing. How do I get from my sucky Monday morning, and I don't want to do anything, to your amazing yacht in Hawaii, right? How do I get there? And then that's the problem. You get so discouraged. You're like, well, I can never get there.
That is such a
But-
good way to put it.
You like that? You can steal that.
I will. I'll put that in my back pocket.
There you go. Make a shirt. Make a shirt. There you go. So, okay. So as you're doing your podcast and learning all of this podcasting jargon and terminology and process and editing, who was there for you? Like, who did you turn to help you learn all of this stuff? Like, what did you do?
Girl, no one. So one of the things, so when I was like, so God put on my heart, my friends were encouraging it. My sister was big and she's like, you got to do it. And then I talked to a pastor and he's like, hey, at this point, it's disobedience for you to not do it. And I was like, man, I gotta, the pressure was on. And I was like, well, like in my family, it was like social media is cool, but no one in my family is jumping to be an influencer because we kind of like all have that belief of like, hey, like that lives forever and that can come back to bite you. So I was kind of like, I don't really want to be on the internet because like I'm a pretty problematic person. Like I do not speak well, nor like I have so many moments before the podcast of just like failure and ignorance. Like that will come back to haunt me. So it's like, me, a Bible podcast? Like, I don't want to do this. I also didn't have anybody that was podcasting. It was like my sister's Bible studies friend that had a podcast 2 years ago. So I called her and I was like, dude, like, do I need to learn how to edit? Like, that seems like a whole other skill. And she was kind of the kicker that got me in because I was like saying, no, 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 no. And she was like, listen, from a Christian standpoint, it sounds like God just wants to hang out with you. So just like do it to obey God. And like if no one hears your podcast, that's cool. You gave it a go. On the editing side, you are so late to the podcasting game, Cass. The tools are already there. And so there's a lot of things you could do. What I did and what has worked for me is you go through Riverside, and that's linked to the Anchor site for the RSS feed, which like I had no idea what that was, but like you don't have to. You record on Riverside. You can also edit on Riverside. Their output is enough It's not like top tier Audacity or whatever it is. And then you can export directly onto Spotify for podcasters. And that like Anchor RSS feed puts it everywhere. It puts it on like Podbean and YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify and like podcasters and Chromecasters and all of those like really crazy RSS feeds. So when I edit, I record on Riverside, I edit on Riverside, I export the MP4 and MP3, go to Spotify for podcasters, upload the audio, that goes everywhere. And then I do a manual upload to YouTube. It automatically goes to YouTube as a audio, but I export the MP4 just so there is a video aspect. And that's it. If I move forward, like I bought the pro plan for Riverside, and like I would love to know like what you've invested, but I can tell you my investments and it's crazy. Like you just kind of have to like understand that some things will cost money. With Riverside, I did the free plan and like do the free plan for as long as you can. And then you get to a point where you can justify the cost. Like I justify pro because I need the transcripts to export. Like I need certain features. So I bought the year. And I'm a huge proponent of Riverside. It's literally the easiest way to immediately start podcasting. And like with a mic, I got a Facebook Marketplace. Like I did not invest initially because like you don't know if it's going to work. You know, it's like you don't need the gear. Like if the content's good enough, like I went viral with a horrible mic off Facebook Marketplace. Like it's okay. But I probably will go to Descript next just because I heard that the audio output is better and I think like it has more AI built into it. But as of right now, like if you want to start a podcast, you do not need a nice mic. You do not need nice headphones. You can just get a Riverside link and record virtually. I have yet to record in person though, so I'd be really interested to see how that works for me.
Yeah, that's another level, right? Because you got to worry about mics talking to each
Right.
other and your voice showing up in my mic and my voice is in your mic, and
It's almost
that
like
makes
easier
editing
just
really
to do
hard,
it
right?
over like a video.
That's probably if somebody came to me today and said, "How do I start with an interview podcast?" I would say Riverside's great. There's a Boomcaster is another one that I love. Zoom, everybody knows what a Zoom is. It's not the best,
Yeah.
but there's some tools on the back end that can make things sound better.
Okay.
So I leverage Zoom because a lot of my guests have never been a guest before. They don't have a podcast. They've never been on a show. They don't even know what a podcast is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get authors come to me from their publisher. They're like, is this a radio show? Like, is someone listening to
It
us right now?
basically
Like,
is.
they're looking around like, what's happening? I don't understand what a podcast even is. I've never heard one.
But it's like a Zoom call and a radio that you can edit and post. Like that's all it is. And I like Riverside because it looks like Zoom. I don't like Zoom because I'm a very visual person. I do the clips, I do the reels, I do everything. Zoom to me just isn't the best quality for that. That's why I also like Riverside. And then they like have built it for Instagram. So like you can export a certain clip. You can put it to the 9:16 frame. You can add the captions. You can export and like you can get the app on your phone. Like I have a whole process now that I'm happy to share because it works
Nice.
for me. But yeah, social media is like my jam. And I feel like Riverside really set me up well to succeed on social media for that.
So for a new podcaster starting a brand new show, they're going to get a website eventually once they've finalized the name of their show and all that. That's one thing on the list. Social media. I hear some interesting things. I hear people saying they love it and they're everywhere. I hear people saying I have one platform that I prioritize and I spend the bulk of my time there. And I have podcasters that say I hate social media and I'm going to do a newsletter and I'm never going back. So that's kind of some of the comments I've heard from podcasters. From your perspective, for your show and your process, what's your answer to that question about social media?
I love social media. It is such organic, free. Like, what's the alternative? Ads? You're going to pay for ads? Like, there is a lot of ways you can build out. And I think that for me, it's interview style. So, like, what is the product? It's taken me so long to figure out. I have invested $10,000 into like coaches and programs. Like, I know what I like and I know what I don't like. For me, I'm trying to build a community. I'm trying to build an email list. I'm trying to create summary guides. Like, if this 1 hour conversation on divine counsel's theory was too high level, I created a Bible study. You get it through the newsletter. If you can buy the guide on my website. Like to me, it's like, what does Cassie 7 years ago need in her faith walk? That's who I'm creating for. That's my ICP. Yeah, but I feel like if you are starting a podcast right now with your buddies, and it's just like, let's just talk about our social life. You know, everybody kind of is like, we are the most fun people in the world. We should start a podcast. Let's say that's it. Then I would suggest that you start a social media page dedicated to that, because you're probably going to reach people that have Instagram. To me, people do TikTok, people do YouTube, they do X. I was doing all three. I just love Instagram, and right now it's the least volatile with like the bands. It's also got more integration. So like, say what you want about Instagram, things are built to fit to Instagram, and I think that's just only going to stabilize it. So for me, I would create a social media page dedicated to it. I would take clips from the podcast, either just the captions, just the visuals, just the moments, to like create mini trailers. And I would clip those onto social media, and I would get an organic following. And then I would have like a link in your bio to either listen directly to the show, or if you're trying to build an email list, which is something I started literally 4 months ago, should have started from the beginning. I would recommend like Stand Store, or I would link it to your website. Like, the tools that you set up are all like, you just have to choose. Are you going to do a newsletter? Are you going to do a Patreon? Those probably have newsletter features. Just start, just like make sure you capture that. That is probably like a metric that matters more than I thought. And then you can, once you own their email for listening, then you can push a product down the line. And you don't need to know what that product is at the beginning. So for me, I would post clips, I would collect emails. And then if you want to get like super involved, like this is what has like boomed everything for me, is you go to ManyChat, ManyChat, and it's free for a second, and then you have to upgrade. I recommend upgrading. I use that every day. Every single day I use ManyChat, because every time I post something on social media, I say, comment the word pod, and I'll send you the full episode. So you see a clip on our guardian angels actually in the Bible, and you only see 30 seconds of that. And maybe you've never seen anything of my content. You're like, what? Like, is it? Like, I don't know. Comment pod. I'll send you the full thing. So they comment pod. After I post, I set up the automation to say in ManyChat, on this post, if somebody comments this trigger word, send them this link in the DMs. So like, that has been a game changer. It's like only available on Instagram. It's trialing on TikTok. Again, that's why I like Instagram. Then people get pushed to my YouTube. So I build my subscribers there. Once you build up, I just hit 1,000 subscribers. Now I can monetize. So people are, you know, or you could link it to Spotify. So I feel like then you are building, again, off platform. You're owning them if Instagram goes down. You have their email in case you have a product down the line. And I would just build that one funnel. And I would just like have people share and talk, like, and then from your content, you create your own content, which is, I think, what everybody hates, is just the talking head. To me, people really like that. I get the most likes and shares and saves on that. But it's like, if I post a video of a scholar explaining our guardian angels in the Bible, I might create another video of just me talking, of like a funny little skit, pretending I'm talking to my guardian angel. Maybe just like a duet with somebody's comment. Maybe it's just me being like, here are 3 ways to know if your guardian angel's with you. Like, whatever it might be. Like, if the content creates itself, you, like, is the fear really just talking? Like, when I record content and it's just me talking, I set up my phone, I press record for that self-timer on Instagram, and I talk, and then I mess up, but I keep recording, and then I talk, and I think, okay, no, I'm getting there, though. I'm just riffing. I don't do scripts. So I just talk, and I'm like, that is the point I'm trying to make. Cool. And then I edit in CapCut, which, like, it's another app, but it helps. It really does. And I don't pay for it. It's just easier. And then I export that. And once I have that file, again, owning that file, I like edited in Instagram for so long and it just sucks. But then I can take that exported file from CapCut, put it on Instagram. I put things on TikTok just to like test water it. Like, does it perform well? I don't really care if it does, but like, I'm like, ooh, a lot of people are mad about that clip. I won't post that on Instagram. And then everything on YouTube just links back to the long form version of it. Like, I don't really do hot takes, duets, comments on YouTube. That's just not my style. It's just, here's a 30-second version of the longer version that's linked through the YouTube shorts. And like, that's just my approach. And I'm sure that like there's a lot of room for improvement. I'm at capacity, okay? Took me a long time to get here, and I'm just going to maintain it because yeah, at this point, I've gotten an assistant. Like, you blow my mind, the fact that you are a team of one. I just got an assistant 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, Oh my gosh, my emails are taken care of. I'm getting yes. Oh my gosh, like she's editing thumbnails. Like, oh, it's amazing. I'm trying to get her to edit, and that way I can like maybe breathe. But you're insane. You're actually insane.
Well, yeah. We won't even go there. The one thing you did mention is community. Now,
Oh yeah.
everything I'm hearing from you is you giving to people. How do you receive from your audience?
Yeah.
So, as a listener, as a community member, a YouTube watcher, an audio listener, I want to engage with you from my side of the earphones. What do you have in place to create that world of conversation between you and your listener?
That's a great question. And I honestly have spent 4 months figuring it out. And what I started with was a community on School, SKOOL. So people can join the free community. And I was just kind of trialing, like, do I want to manage a community? Now I have 400 people in my community, and I honestly don't know what to do with them. So it's like everyone's here and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm here for answers. I'm here for answers. But I have branded myself as not the smart person. So I'm not going to go into a community and teach you. I'm not going to go into a community and coach you, which School is perfect. If you have a podcast on like how to podcast, like you should have a School community. Like I'll show you how to do everything. But if you have a podcast on like people in the School community have like how to fly a drone in 60 days. And so it's a whole course. There's coaching calls, there's courses, there's guides. You meet with the person and then this guy teaches you. So in 60 days, you'll know how to fly a drone. He would be great for a podcast because that's the upper funnel marketing that funnels down into the conversion. For me, like what's the conversion? Like get to heaven in 60 days? Like that's not me. So I built the community. It's there. And then if you want, I have a summary guide on how to navigate tough topics like homosexuality biblically, because that's how a scholar taught me. So those guides are available. I don't really know if like my audience, like again, I'm still in testing phase right now of like, do people like to pay me? Right now I'm pivoting because I'm just going to like hold off on the community. If people want to engage with me, the best way is to like sign up for my email list. And then I'll send out every Tuesday, I have a new episode. And then I send out a newsletter to say, hey, here's the episode in 10 minutes. And it's just kind of like that like morning brew style newsletter of like what that episode is, because my dad was like, Cass, I'm not listening to your podcast. And I'm like, this is great feedback. Like if 60 minutes is a long time, I want to know that. I can't do my episodes in 20 minutes though. So the newsletter is kind of like the episode, and then there's affiliate links, there's donation links. And then I'm just now starting another newsletter that goes out Fridays. And it's like, hey, remember that episode from Tuesday? Here's a Bible study that I made. Download it. And if you want to buy something, here's a guide. I just made this bundle. It's $30. So like, I'm still in the testing phase. Like I made the community, I did the full thing, and I honestly just didn't like it. And maybe I quit too soon, but to me, you have like, it's okay. Like, it's okay if I quit too soon. I'm a one-person team and I gave it 3 months. So now I'm going to pivot, trial out the newsletter. Maybe that is it. Maybe it's not. You know, like you have to try these things. And I'm kind of like this in relationships. Like we're either like working or we're not. There's no need to like waste time through like complacency. Like just like figure it out, take a risk. You can always go back, and like some things don't delete. Like I'm not deleting the community. I'm just not paying attention to it. We're going to try all the guides. We're going to try all the newsletter. Because I've learned about my audience, they don't like getting on calls. They don't like showing face. It's just like not their style. So we're not going to push that.
Interesting.
You know, like, and I've heard that from other Christian podcasters. They're like, I will coach you. Like, I actually can teach you the Bible. Let's get on a call. And he's like, and people don't show up or they don't turn on their camera. So it's like, okay, well, for this specific audience, that's not the vibe. Maybe the vibe is just getting a newsletter, and you choose if you get the course or you get the guide, and maybe there's a course in the future. And I did calls in the community for a bit where it's like, hey guys, let's do like a weekly warm up. Let's do like a group up. And it just like was awkward. It was horrible for everybody. It like makes me hot thinking about it.
See, now what I love about this conversation is I talked to you before we hit record that I want this show to be multiple voices, different perspectives, different approaches to how you do what you do. What you do is almost opposite of what I'm doing, which I love, because now you're making me think, and I love that. I love when people make me think. That's like, you're going to keep me up all night at work tonight. But like for me, I created a meetup group, and we meet twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays. And we jump on Zoom, and everybody wants to be on camera. It's the exact opposite of you. I have more people wanting to do that than anything else. People love responding to the show. So I set up a SpeakPipe at speakpipe.com, and people can leave me an audio message, comes to me in an email. I can download it and put their voice into my show. So they have a unique question, they have a comment, whatever. It opens the door. And in less than a year, I have 350 voice messages that come into me from around the world. From around the world. It's like, so an example for you, for this How to Podcast series, after 100 episodes of listening, I had a gentleman in Warsaw, Poland, reached out to me and said, Dave, I've been listening to your show. Use my SpeakPipe. I'm listening to your show, and I want to give you something. And I'm like, I thought he was going to give me some advice, like how I can be better. And he's like, what kind of camera are you using? And I'm like, that's an odd question. I'm like, I only had a cheap camera from Amazon. He's like, I'm buying you a camera, and I'm going to send it to you. I'm like, you're in Warsaw, Poland. He's like, yeah, that's not going to work. I'm going to give you the money to go buy a camera. Here's the camera I would suggest, and I'm going to give you the money to buy it.
Wait.
So here's a person I've never met. I know that I have listeners in Poland, but now they've actually reached out to me because I made it easy to do that. And I gave them the opportunity through my SpeakPipe. And he reached out and he gave me that information. Whoa. And he bought me the camera. So the camera I'm using right now came from Warsaw, Poland.
Wow.
So, right? So on top of people donating financially to the podcast and giving money to the show to help me continue doing all this, I've had people buy me the camera. I had someone buy me a desktop computer. Like, it just comes in from the listeners, and they want to say thank you.
Whoa.
So when I always encourage people when they start a show, create some way to get feedback from your audience. So whether it's social media and DMs, whatever you're going to do, but have a way for me to have a conversation with the listener.
Yeah.
Some way, a back and forth, right? Open that door because they're listening to you.
Yeah.
They hear you. They love you. They show up every episode.
Yeah.
But they just want to give you a message. They want to tell you how much they love your show. So make it easy for them to leave you a message somehow through your website, through social media, through a SpeakPipe, for example.
Yeah.
And then give them a way to say thank you by giving them a way to donate to the show and give you some money back.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you don't tell everybody, make it available.
Yeah.
And like I've mentioned to you before we went on, thousands of dollars have come into the show because of the listeners just wanting to say thanks in small amounts and sometimes really big amounts. Yeah. So what I do, because I don't really need the money for the show, is I reinvest it into podcasters. Yeah. So when I help somebody set up their show, I help them get their SpeakPipe set up, and I help them with their Buy Me a Coffee, for example. Yeah. And then I want to be your first voice message, and I want to be your first donation. Yeah. That's what I do for everybody that I help set up their podcast. I want you to see what it feels like to get that message and get that financial support from a listener.
Yeah, so
that's what I do.
I didn't ask for donations since the beginning. Like asking for donations was as of last month, and I've been doing this since October 2023, just because I don't know why. Like it felt weird, but just like I agree with you. Have the option of like, if you feel like it, it's here, and like add it to the show notes, or like, yeah, I added it to like my Stan store. Now it's on my website. I put it in my newsletters of like, I don't use Buy Me a Coffee. I use the Stripe payment links. So I'm trying to get to $5,001 per month subscribers just to like fund this because everything's out of pocket. Yeah. So it's like, if I can do that, I can sleep at night, that I'm not draining my bank account. I'm also like on unemployment, like it'll work out, but like we got to make some plans. So I give the option of $1 per month. I have the option of $15 per month, and then I have one-time donations. So you can choose works, because I've had $15 donations and someone's like, can you make me a $50 a month sponsorship? Or it's just one time someone gave me $1,000 and you're like, why wasn't I doing this? Because I felt like this was like a me thing. I felt like I had to earn it. I felt like I couldn't ask for money until I had a product. And people are like, but you are working and this is the product. Yeah, right. But I agree. And then as of November, I started a testimonial.to. Oh,
really?
Oh, we got David. Oh.
Okay. Interesting. What's this?
So that's a way to gather 5-star reviews. And it's like a link that you can share. And it's like, hey, leave Biblically Speaking a review, either a video or a text or something. And people can give you 5 stars. And then you have like a wall of love. And it's just everybody's reviews. And so Now I've put that in my newsletter of like, hey, like if you love the show, like leave a review. And like I honestly don't get many. To get as many as I did, I reached out to people and I was like, hey, I have been creating content for a year and like through the DMs, I have made friends. Like I literally just met someone in Hawaii who's a follower. Shout out to Dan. Dan's like, I'm in Hawaii. Like, can we meet? And so I met him and it was awesome. And like some people are like, I'm in Oahu. So like, I'm going to get coffee with this woman who lives here. And so I would reach out to those people and I'm like, we're clearly friends. You DM me every day. Like, this is now a parasocial. It's no longer parasocial. Like, now we're friends. Do you mind like writing me a review? And so I reached out to like 10 people. They all wrote me a review and it was awesome. And then with testimonial.to, you can get the Chrome extension. And so if someone leaves like a review on Spotify or a YouTube comment or a DM, you can like highlight it with your cursor and screenshot it and then send it directly to your wall of love. So you can like capture, so they don't have to necessarily input the 5-star reviews for you to capture them. You can just like be like, oh, this is a review like on my YouTube comments. I'm just going to screenshot this. Like, so if you go to my wall of love, you see a lot of screenshots, but they're real people giving real feedback that I love. So that's awesome. And that's how I gather that. And so like right now I'm like creating guides, creating products, and it's like, flex, like show the social proof. Does it work? And so I'm just screenshotting these reviews and I'm like, hey, this person commented how much they loved my community. Here's the link to join the community. Someone commented how much they like loved my guide. Here's the link to a free guide. The free guide is a lead magnet that collects their email, that enrolls them in email marketing, that pushes them to my website. So I learned a lot about funnels and automation. That's my favorite word in the world.
Wow. So yeah. So that's why I'm so glad you're here, because I'm learning. I've got like a whole page of notes from you. And this is exactly what I was hoping for. That's why I do co-hosted episodes. I didn't want the show to be the Dave podcast. I wanted it to be our show.
Yeah, you're the best.
Where you and I can go back and forth and share these ideas. You've taught me so much.
No, you've taught me. You are so good at setting the frame for a good episode. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I'm like chatting like this with a scholar and I'm like, yeah. Blah, blah. Okay, let's do the countdown and start recording. And right when it starts recording, we're both like, hello, it is so good.
It's that little red blinking light. You're like, oh my gosh.
Robots. I'm like, we're acting. I thought we were laughing. Like,
Okay, so I could talk to you all day, and I would love, I'm going to put it out there. Let's see what your response is, but maybe in the future, because I think we just touched on a couple things.
Let's keep talking.
There is a depth to you that I don't even think we just do the one episode. So I'm asking you to please consider coming back in the future.
I will come back. You let me know. I'll have you email Carla, my assistant. Shout out to Carla. Can't do anything without her now.
Carla.
Codependency. Yeah, we will do this again because like there's so much to podcasting and it's so much fun. It's our lives. This is our lives. Of course we can talk about this.
Right. All right. I'm going to turn the mic over to you and I'm going to go sit with the audience. And I would love for you to kind of wrap this up for us in your podcast way.
Oh.
Maybe a little bit from your show.
Got it.
Something that you can share with us. Okay, this is now your show, and I'm going to go sit with everyone else and listen to you. But you wrap us up.
Okay.
Your closing thoughts, podcast related, your show related, inspire us. I'm going to go sit down.
Okay.
Mike's yours.
David, this was phenomenal. Anybody podcasting, have no fear. It is the new age of content creation. And in my opinion, one of the most authentic. It's your voice. And I highly recommend it. If you're going to use anything, I recommend Riverside. Just start recording. Just hit record. Like weeks went by because I was so afraid to press record. And if maybe you're like, I got the idea, I got the guest, I got the gear, I'm just afraid to sit down. Do it and fail, knowing you're going to fail, and then you'll get better. Like guarantee the fail. And it's going to suck and it'll be awkward, but you get through it. And then you're going to realize why you postponed for so long. And also like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. I definitely overextended myself by trying to ensure success by being everywhere all at once. And if anything, I wish I could go back and just be so simple on one thing at a time and just organically be led to the next thing. That would have saved me a lot of money and time and effort. But if you want to know more about your faith and you want to specifically spend time learning about the God of the universe and how cool he is, I hope I do a good job on my podcast, but you be the judge of that. And it's called Biblically Speaking. You can find everything on my website, bibspeak.com, BIBSPEAK.com. That is the host for anything and everything. But I am the most active on social media. On Instagram, you're talking to me. There's no Carla on there. I haven't let her touch it. So when you DM, you're DMing me. And this is Biblically Speaking on Instagram. And yeah, I would love to get your honest feedback on the podcast. Honestly, like it's on Spotify, Biblically Speaking podcast. And I hope that helps you see how cool God is and how cool like the creator of the universe is that loves you and knows you. I'm not going to do an altar call here. I'm not going to give you a sermon. I just genuinely find him really cool. But yeah, I hope that we both find ourselves in the Spotify charting list for podcasts very soon. But thank you for having me on, David. This was so much fun.
And thank you to Podmatch for making it happen.
Really?
This is such a great tool. I'm so glad we can connect with great podcasters through that great site. I have a new podcast to fall in love with, which I'm so excited about.
Thank you.
And you're going to see listens here in Niagara, Ontario, Canada.
All right.
On your stats, it's probably going to be Dave. So I'm excited to jump in and take in all this great podcasting stuff you've done for us and the community. Great ideas, great approach to how you do things.
Thank you.
And I love that you own your process and you understand it and it works for you. And I get the sense that there's nobody who could tell you you're doing it wrong.
Oh.
Because you're not. You're doing it your way, and it works for you. And that's the beauty of podcasting, is we can all pick a path. Every path is the right path. But we can still learn from each other at the same time and go, wait a minute.
Yes.
Like I've got so many links from you that I'm going to be throwing in the notes for people to go check out.
Thank you.
But I would encourage everyone to go and listen to the podcast, sign up for the newsletter, and see what it feels like to be embraced by a podcaster who knows what she's doing.
Okay.
Because I want you to learn from it and see what happens when you sign up. Because you're going to see all the things we've talked about in real life by signing up for the newsletter, listening to the show. And as I always encourage my listeners and people who follow this show, when you go to listen to this podcast, to Cass's podcast, I want you to listen to the entirety of the show. Not just the beginning, the whole thing to the end. Because again, that's a signal to all of the players, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, that you are listening to a podcast you like.
Yeah.
They're going to take notice
Yeah.
that people listen to the entirety of every episode. They're like, this is a good show. Every time we send somebody to this specific podcast, they don't leave 10 seconds later. They stay for the whole thing. So it's a great flag that we can wave to these apps that this is a good show.
And if you don't like it, just put the phone down, walk away. But let me get that analytic.
Yes. Sweet analytics. I love it. Thank you for doing this. You're coming back in the future. Yes. I'm going to hold you to that because we need a little more sunshine in Hawaii around here where I live. So
mahalo.
Back in the future. Come on. Thank you so much for doing this.
Of course.
Awesome. Everyone, all the information is always in the show notes. And I would love for you to go support yet another amazing podcaster that's been here on the show sharing their wisdom with us. You're going to have to go back and listen to parts of this again because there's so many great things. And it didn't come from me, which I love. That makes me so happy. And I'm so excited to have Cass on the podcast. Thank you, Cass.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast all the way through to the end. I love having these great guest co-hosts on the show to share their podcast with you. You have some homework to do. And what I'm asking of you is to go check out our featured guest co-host today. Go over and listen to their podcast. The links are always in the show notes. I'd love for you to go and give them your love and support. And I think if we can all do that for each other, podcasting will be a lot more fun for all of us. So it's time to do what you've asked others to do for you. It's time to do for this guest co-host. Links in the show notes. Go over and check out their show and leave them a review. Do the follow. Go listen to their episodes in full, the entirety of an episode, which again shows to the apps that it's a good podcast because you're going there and you're staying to the end. It's probably one of the best ways you can help a podcaster grow their audience and be shown to more people is by simply going and listening wherever you listen to the very end, like you're doing right now here. This is the perfect way to signal to wherever you're listening on, this is a podcast worth promoting. And all of the apps want you to stay on as long as possible. So go over and listen to our guest co-host episode and leave them some feedback. If they have a buy me a coffee, send them a coffee. If they have a speak pipe, send them a voice message. If they have an email, send them an email. If they're on Instagram, send them a direct message. Do something to support our guest co-hosts. They've given up their time to be here with you, to be here with me, and we can give that back to them with time and attention, our love, our support. Thank you for doing all that for me as well. Here on the How to Podcast series, we'll talk to you soon for our next episode.